102. Happy Monday, Nasties. How you doing? Welcome to EST Afternoons. I'm Hernan Salas, coming to you live from the William Huff Studios here in the West Side. I'm alongside Zachary Kubish, and remote from his office in the South Side of Edmonton is our guy Joaquin. Gage, lots to get to today. No shortage of Oilers news. We'll talk Klingberg. We'll talk Derek Ryan on waivers clearing. We'll talk about the vicious cross-check from Connor McDavid. How many games will he get? We'll also recap the NFL. And at 2:20, we will be joined by Daniel Nugent-Bowman to talk more Oilers. He's from The Athletic. Like always, hit us up on the Nasty Chat. Hit us up on the River Cree inbox. And if you like to watch us, it's the EST YouTube channel. If you like to listen to us, it's iHeart and the TuneIn radio apps. Also, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Gager, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, buddy. Happy Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. Yeah, hopefully. Oh, my dog's barking. It's fine. You can hear that. Yeah, no, it's cold.
Yeah, it is.
Jeez.
It's supposed to get better though, Gage.
Yeah, I think it's like warming up like a degree an hour here or something. So it's hopefully it gets back to, well, it looks like it's going to get back to normal soon. But that was after Gimme Virtual Golf. It was cold, and then had the Oilers Bonspiel. That was quite frigid as well. But yeah, it was a fun weekend. I had a lot to do.
Nice. Yeah, you joined us on the, I think, pre and post game show, Gager. Just the pre.
Yeah.
Just the pre-game, and then we went to Gimme Virtual Golf. Quickly, Gager, fun experience. You've golfed a lot. We went with my nephew. My nephew, he golfs, but he's still learning as well. I'm terrible. This was my second time swinging a club. It was great though. Make sure to check them out. Gimme Virtual Golf. Check them out online. Great facility, Gager. What'd you make of the virtual experience?
Unique. I've never been to a virtual golf place, right? So it was all new to me, but I could see I was wondering what it was going to be about, but I could definitely see the appeal of it, right?
Yeah.
Like you go there with a few of your friends for a few hours. There's tons of different courses to choose. I mean, we played the front nine at Pebble Beach, right? Like when can you when can you go and do something like that and stuff? So, and it is virtual, right? But you do get to swing the club, and it's actually pretty close to being realistic.
Yeah.
You say, well, I hit that well, and then they have all the cameras that you can look at your swing and your ball contact point and stuff. I could see a very enjoyable evening with a few friends and a few 6 o'clocker loggers and having a good time in one of those rooms, because you're enclosed in your own space too, right? So it's very it's kind of an intimate little setting of going and playing some golf, and I'm sure there's tons of different games to play, but a really neat experience, man. I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away with the technology and how much fun you probably could have in there.
Yeah, it's good to go for a birthday or just like a corporate thing, a company thing. It was great, and I was frustrated because I still don't know how to hit the ball. And Gager, if you want to give a breakdown of my swing, what would you call it?
The Chichi Rodriguez. That's how kind of it was. It was kind of not as smooth. I mean, you're a ways away from Fred Couples, but we'll get you there, buddy. We'll get you there. I'll have that thing sweet as pie by summertime.
I enjoyed it though. It was fun. It's a cool experience. Make sure to check them out. It's Gimme Virtual Golf, and they're located on 10846 170th Street. Kent or Michael will be glad to help you out there for whatever you need. And like they told us, Jerome McGinley just got a membership there, so he's a regular when he's in town. So you can run into some former great hockey players as well. But Gager, let's get to it, man. Saturday, you didn't join us on post-game show. The game ended in a feisty manner. Before I give my 2 cents, I just want to, for you, what McDavid did, for you, suspension and how many games? And if not, I want to hear it as well, obviously.
Yeah, it's a game, right? But it was, I think it's necessary. Weren't we talking before, just, I think, in the bullpen about players that would do something once a year or a couple times a year just to keep people on edge and go, well, is this really worth, mugging this guy? And do I want to spend time in a dentist chair? Right? You have to start creating room for yourself. There was I think he wore number 11. He played for the Oilers years ago. He tended to get his elbows a little high, and created a lot of room for himself. Okay. And if memory serves, I don't think he fought that much, so just that fear of doing something to your skilled guys. Sometimes you have to take matters into your own hands. Yeah. And I had no problem with it, to tell you the truth. And even what reaffirmed it was the listening to Connor Garland, or is it Connor Garland afterwards?
Yeah.
He had no problem with it. He understood it, right? He knew exactly what he was doing. He was taking the best player on the planet out of play,
knowing that time was going to expire.
I have why not do that? Take the penalty. Right, that's what you want to do, and he said he's the best player. He got frustrated. I could see it. I'd be the same way. I loved what he said afterwards. So, and it's a great play by him. I think on Dusty's show, I heard if the roles were reversed and someone was doing that to TJ Miller, we would all say, "Oh, that's
brilliant."
Brilliant. The Dave Jameson, the dark arts, that's how you do whatever you can to win hockey games.
Exactly.
And bottom line, who came out with the 2 points, right? Vancouver Canucks desperately needed 2 points there. And I have no problem with it. And to tell you the truth, it is a penalty, or it'll be a suspension.
Yeah.
Can't go and cross-check someone in the head, right? But if we're looking for actual viciousness and severity of cross-checks, Tyler Myers is way worse.
Yeah, 100%.
McDavid hit him on the side of the head with the helmet there. That was not a direct cross-check right to the mouth. I don't know. That was very vicious by Myers to do. We'll see Thursday if there's any repercussion. But I don't know, I think they'll both get a game, right? And that'll be that. I hope they both just get a game, because that game Thursday, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, just because everyone in this city, and I'm sure they're playing the Caps with Ovi, but we're still going to be talking about this Vancouver matchup on Thursday.
Yeah, and it is being reported that the McDavid hearing is complete. Lasted about 20 minutes, so now we await word on what's going to be the final result for Mr. Connor McDavid. I agree with you, Gager. Listen, what Garland did, it's part of the game. He's leaning on the guy. He's grabbing him. He's wrestling him to the ground because there's 20 seconds left, and he's like, I'm not letting this guy get up because he's the best player in the world. Now, it's not Garland's fault the refs don't call a penalty. That's on the refs. I agree 100%. But then Connor McDavid gets up, gets frustrated, cross-checks him. I mean, it's all part of it, Gager, and I'm okay with it, but it doesn't mean you can cross-check a guy in the face. It's plain and simple. Like McDavid, he got caught up in the moment. That's fine. And I don't mind the best player in the world sometimes doing that, Gager. Crosby's done it. We've seen a lot of great players. You brought up the Moose. He was greasy as they come. So there's nothing wrong with a guy defending himself. That's fine. Connor Garland was fine. Like you said, the Myers one was terrible. Let's flip it like you said. Let's say that's Arvidsson on Pettersson. The Oilers are up 3-2. We're praising Arvidsson for doing that. And we're screaming bloody hell if he cross-checks Arvidsson in the face. Like, well, it's a suspension no matter what. So it's a suspension, Gager, no matter what. The refs, sure, they let it get out of hand. But for me, like you said, I have no issues with what Garland did. And I have no issues with what McDavid did. It's part of the game. And you saw Leon Draisaitl postgame. He's like, yeah, that's what happens, man. Like, it's part of the game.
Well, and he was getting pulled down the other night too, right?
Yeah.
I forget who. Oh, it was Rantanen. And they got into it a little bit with stuff. Yeah, it's getting feisty. This time of year is, as you get closer to playoffs and guys start, getting that competitive edge really flowing now. I wouldn't be surprised if you see more of this kind of stuff, right? Yeah. Especially between these teams that are, the most likely out of these, Vancouver, Colorado, these are playoff teams. this is what playoff. It was almost a glimpse into what a 7-game series is going to be. I loved playing playoffs because you just started hating the team you were playing against, right? And if there's a little bit of underlying smoldering flames already, I mean, give me Canucks Oilers all day long. That's going to be so much fun to watch.
And for the people saying, well, they always target McDavid and Draisaitl, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, they're not going to go after Derek Ryan. Not that, I mean, we went through waivers, but yeah, what's the point, right? Yeah.
It's on the Oilers to go after the other team's best players, too. That's the way you do it. That's the way it was back in the day, Gage. Everybody went after Gretzky. Why do you think they had Semenko? Why do you think they had some tough boys on that team? For the same reason. That's why I don't mind the captain of the Edmonton Oilers sometimes saying, screw this, I can defend myself. You see Draisaitl do it all the time. He's greasy as well, Gage. So for people complaining about that they always go after the Oilers' top 2 players, what did you expect?
Yeah, and it's not just, there's the game within the game, right? And look no further than a few years ago when Pietrangelo, what did the Oilers do to perfection against Alex Pietrangelo? They hit him every single chance, all game, like boom, boom, boom. And how did he respond? He lost his marbles. Yeah. He went nuts. He goes and slashes Leon. Now, unfortunate Darnell Nurse jumps in and gets in a fight late and misses a game as well. But it was mission completed. You got Pietrangelo, you got to him, and you got him out of a game, like a very crucial game. But you lost one of your own players too, so it kind of negated the whole thing. But it's what you did afterwards. Like now, all of a sudden, you saw Leon when he came back and faking to slash him and stuff. Pietrangelo kind of reversed or switched the table on the Oilers there. He was in their heads. If the Oilers just kept the same way and played this and just kept hitting him. And I'm not saying like you crushing him every time, but just when he has the puck, you're getting in his way. You're constantly in his face, and that's what they did. And that's what you have to do against the other team's best players, as other teams try to do with Connor McDavid.
No, I agree. Smitty the Welder says, I got zero problem with what Connor did. I actually love it. Exactly. Like, I mean, no one was hurt on the play. It's sometimes that's the part of the game. Sometimes the Oilers do it, and they get away with it, and they win the game. So we can't just sit here and say, oh, what Garland did was terrible. It wasn't terrible. He's smart, man. He's holding down the best player on the planet, and for a team that's desperate for a win, Gager. Like, they're in so much turmoil. There's so much noise surrounding it. He's going to do everything he can, and he said it post-game. He goes, why would I do that? Like, why would I just let him get up scot-free and let him roam around our zone? Like, sometimes you got to go with it. Travis says McDavid was wrong to do it, but you can understand why he did it. Yes, 100%. Gager, do you think it's going to be 1 or 2 games?
For who, McDavid?
Yeah.
I'm going to just say 1. I mean, he's not, this isn't a repeat offense, right? It is vicious what you're doing. You can't do that to guys. Right. I mean, if you did that in real life, you'd probably spend at least a few nights in jail. Right. It's basically assault. Yeah. So, it'll be a game. The league will. They don't want Connor McDavid suspended. Right. Yeah. They want him on TV and showcasing, especially. I know it's unfortunate that it would be kind of neat to see Ovi and McDavid on the ice together. It doesn't happen that often, right? Yeah. But selfishly, I think there's going to be so many eyes on this Vancouver game coming up. You want both Myers and McDavid back in that game because there's juice to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 1. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 2, but I think both guys get the same amount of games. They're not going to make one worse than the other. Yeah. They're going to make it the same because that's what they did. Remember in the playoffs, Pietrangelo and Nurse, like that was a joke. Like Alex Pietrangelo should have got more than 1 game for a deliberate slash to try to hurt a player. Where I think Darnell got it for instigator for coming in. Yeah,
you can't instigate within the last 5 minutes. Yeah, that was just a short circuit in the brain.
Okay, do you believe that the Oilers need to add toughness to address? Because to address this kind of situation, because I look at it like this: who's going to fight Garland? Anyone can fight Garland. Like, he's a small guy. He's not a fighter. One. Myers is a different story. No, you got Nurse, you got Perry that can do it. Sure. But for me, everybody's now like trying to say that they need to go out and get the Ryan Reeves types. I don't see it that way, because Connor Garland's not fighting Ryan Reeves.
Yeah. I was always a fan of, even when I played, and it was at a different time where we had legitimate killers on our team, right? Yeah. I like the old Hammurabi eye for an eye kind of thing, where they take a run at our best guy, we take a run at their best guy. Yeah. And we had some great enforcers that did that. I would say and we talked about Dennis Bonvie before, right? And he would do this. He would, if someone, went after one of our players and stuff, he would skate by their bench and point at a guy and say, this guy's getting it tonight because this guy's a jerk and you're a jerk and you're a jerk. So when you get mad when I take your teeth out, it's because these guys are acting like idiots, right? Yeah. So what do you think's going to happen when they go into the dressing room? He goes, guys, come on, don't be idiots. I don't want to have this guy run me into the corner or do something silly. So that's a way that I found you could police it a bit better. But now the game is different. There's different ways to police, different methods of toughness. Obviously, going on the power play and scoring is the biggest revenge you can get, because it has a direct outcome on the game. That's part of team toughness. But I think I don't think you need the Reeves type. I think the Oilers are just fine. They can play a physical brand of hockey, just with finishing their checks. But they have the puck most of the game. That's the thing. And I think they could probably hit a little bit more. And I don't know. I have to watch a game, Nanso, and actually just count hits from the Oilers' standpoint, because I think it's very biased at times. And what constitutes a hit from someone? Because I see multiple times when there's definite. It's not like the Oilers shy away from the physical play. Like, there's battles in the corner, and some of them I think should be counted as hits, but just because you don't knock a guy on his butt doesn't mean it's not a physical body check, right? So, and I don't find them soft in that respect.
Podkolzin's a guy that can be physical, leads the team in hits, and can drop the gloves. But again, I don't see Garland fighting Podkolzin. He knows Podkolzin. He knows he's probably going to lose that one. I do think there will be some bad blood in Thursday's game for sure, but I don't expect people going after Garland. Like, I really don't, Gager. Like,
no, I mean, if they get in the corner with them, hit him. You're going to play him hard, and if there's a chance against the wall and he's coming down, I'm sure guys are there's going to be a little bit of extra effort to hit a little bit harder if the chance materializes for someone. But I don't think the Oilers are going to go out of their way to go after Garland. That won't happen. I would be more, I think guys will be looking towards finishing their checks against Myers way more than there were like Garland. Garland was just holding on to McDavid and not letting him up, right? And McDavid kind of took care of it anyway. What more are you going to do?
Yeah, and it's hopefully we get a announcement soon here. It sounds like the meeting with the league has finished, so we await word on Connor McDavid and Tyler Myers, for that fact, to see if they both get the same amount of games here, if it's surprisingly just a fine for the team. Keep the messages coming to the Nasty Chat. Hit us up on the River Cree inbox. The afternoon inbox is presented by the River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the Kitchen Restaurant. All you can eat surf and turf for just $59.99 every Friday from 4 to 10 p.m. That's the River Cree inbox. 780-218-9999. How many games do you see McDavid getting? I think the consensus is 1 or 2. I can't see it being more than that, Gage, or I'd be blown away if it's 3. But if it is 1, it's unfortunate because he won't play tomorrow against the Great 8 and the Capitals, who come in hot as well. That's going to be a fun game. All right, coming up next, we will continue the Oilers talk. We'll talk about Derek Ryan on waivers, cleared today, Gager. We'll also talk about the slow starts for this team. Now that's 5 out of the 6 games where they've had really bad first periods. And we're going to hear from the newest member of the Edmonton Oilers. He led the stretch today, Gager. John Klingberg. All that is coming up here on EST Afternoons. It's Joaquin, Gage, it's Hernan, Salas, and here's Coob with your sports update.
After getting booted from Saturday's game for cross-checking Canucks forward Connor Garland, Connor McDavid has faced a league for a hearing on his infractions, with details soon to come on the league's response. And earlier today, John Klingberg suited up for his first practice in Edmonton, with head coach Chris Knobloch saying Klingberg will not play for the Oilers for at least a week. Elsewhere, Derek Ryan has cleared waivers as he reports to the Condors. And right now in the NHL, the Sharks and Bruins are tied at 3 midway through the final frame. We also have the Avs and Wild scoreless 10 minutes in. After that, the Blues face the Golden Knights and the Lightning meet the Maple Leafs as Max Pacioretty sits out for Toronto due to an upper body injury on a 9-game NHL slate. In baseball, the Jays have agreed to terms with Anthony Santander at $92.5 million for 5 years, with a club option for a 6th year at $110 million overall. And on the court, the Hornets squeaked past the Mavericks 110-105. And right now the Pistons and Rockets are tied at 57 entering the third quarter. Meanwhile, the Hawks and Knicks are just getting underway, seeing Atlanta 15-6, and in the second, Minnesota leads Memphis 36-26. This sports update is brought to you by Gimme Virtual Golf. Step into a whole new golfing experience with 240 unique courses for you to play. Plus, they have a hydraulic swing plate that automatically tees the ball up for you, with the innovative technology replicating real-life ball lies, moving the ball in 24 different directions. Gimme Virtual Golf, where innovation meets the game. Visit their website at gimmevirtualgolf.ca. More Oilers discussion to come on the other side of the break here on EST Afternoons. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
Want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know.
126 here on EST Afternoons. It's Joaquin, Gage, Hernan, Salas, Zach Kubish with you. Coming up at 3, it is the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. They'll take you right up till 6. Off day for the Oilers. They return tomorrow to play the Washington Capitals here at home, 7 o'clock. That means the GCL Diesel Oil Stream show gets going at 6 o'clock. Nice, some home cooking for the Edmonton Oilers, which is a nice sight because they've been on the road for quite a bit here. And like always, smash that thumbs up. We got a good viewership going right now. So if you haven't smashed that thumbs up, please do so we can get to 100 plus on this Monday. Gager, the big news yesterday was Derek Ryan placed on waivers. It's something we've discussed a lot. I think, on every show here at EST. I didn't see it coming this quick. I thought kind of he'd last a little bit longer. Josh Brown also sent down to the minors. No surprise there, but he clears today. He'll make his way down to Bako. This was just the writing on the wall for a 38-year-old veteran, right?
Yeah, I think so. It all depended on Philp's progression too.
Yeah.
And I think what they saw from him warranted maybe some more looks. He made the coaches put the decision in their hands, and they thought they'd get a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, right? He's going to have to work on some draws, I think, to get his game to the NHL level in that respect. But I liked what I saw from him, right? There was physicality, and there was, I don't know, it seemed like there was a little bit of chemistry forming with him and Perry, right? And he's just going to learn so much from playing with Corey Perry, right? He's just so sly. He's seen it all. Can recognize plays and help out the young guy. I think it's a pretty good match.
Yeah, I like Noah Philp more in Vancouver. He was around it, like you said. He's a big body. He gets around the ice pretty good, and I think once he gets a few points and gets that first goal out of the way, he's going to settle in nicely. And he's, like you said, a bigger body, younger. So no one should be surprised by this move. But Derek Ryan, in saying that, good soldier for this team, made it to the NHL at 28, 29 years old.
Yeah.
No one's ever going to question this guy's heart. He's been an absolute, I'd say a key piece for the Edmonton Oilers the last 3-4 years. He's been excellent. And you can tell it's probably a sad day for the teammates to see a veteran like that go down. But, he's that pro's pro Gager where he's going to be okay with this. He's going to go down there, help some of the younger guys there. And this is probably not the last we've seen on him. He's for sure going to get a called up. If not during the season, he'll be up for the playoffs because he still has a little bit of value to add to that fourth line if needed, Gager.
Yeah, and there's someone's going to be banged up one night, and there's a guy that understands his role. By if he's sitting out, he's going to prepare himself the best way possible. So if his number does get called or his jersey gets put up before the game, he's gonna respond.
Yeah.
And he's not too far removed from scoring double-digit goals, right?
No, he's not.
And this is the one thing, and I know that he's a smaller player and things, but there's a very high skill level with Derek Ryan. If you were ever to go skate with him, you go, geez, how's this guy not scoring like 20 a year? Right. So, and he's responsible, but I think the Oilers, just looking at the landscape of the Pacific and the eventuality of playing some of these teams in the playoffs, a little bit more size, a little bit more beef, I think just to help lean on some teams a little bit more is always a little bit more beneficial because Derek Ryan's a great player and brings a lot, but one attribute that he does not possess is the ability to physically, I don't think, wear down big, heavy defensemen, right? That's the one thing.
Are you surprised that no one took a waiver on him?
I am, actually.
Yeah?
I was.
Okay.
I thought, what would I put it at? I thought there might have been 60% chance that someone might pick him up, right? Yeah. It wasn't 50-50, a little bit more. Just to have a veteran guy, and I know there was talk about Utah wanting him or whatever. That might have been just I was hearing from Bob Stauffer tell me this, whisper that in my ear or something like that. But no, I thought that this guy's been a pretty reliable guy, and this is the time of year where there are some injuries around the league, and maybe they could let's get this guy in and just shore up that that bottom six if we need it. I kind of looked at, I made a brief look. I couldn't kind of narrow down a team, but yeah, I wasn't completely shocked, but I was thinking that it was a definite possibility that he might get picked up.
Yeah, Spency 5 cents. He says DR will be a good call up for the playoffs when they get banged up. Yeah, there's good value there. VR Montenegro says, and DR10 is a master of the dark arts. We've seen the man stick a chump right in the berries.
Well, the thing is, what's going to really benefit DR is he's going to go down to Bakersfield and play more minutes than he's played in years. So
that's a good point.
Now you're getting a guy that in that bottom six that's gone from playing 7-8 minutes a night to probably closer to 16 to 20. That's going to be quite beneficial, I think, if and when he's called upon later on in the year. Like, he's just going to feel that much more confident with his game.
Cager, let's get to the Oilers' game in the first period. 5 of their last 6, they've been absolutely torched in the first period. In Pittsburgh, in Chicago, in Minnesota, in Colorado, then in Vancouver. The only game that they didn't have a bad first period was against the LA Kings. I know we talked to Cass after the Chicago game, and he said, guys, I'm not worried about it yet. But if this trend continues, maybe yes. Do you see this as a trend, or is this something that they'll snap out of? I know Nuge was asked today, and he said, yeah, we're not worried. We know we have to be better, but we don't see this this issue ongoing. What do you make of their slow starts? Because it's troublesome, but and I get it. They in most of these games, like against Minnesota, Colorado, they came back. They almost came back against Vancouver. They beat Chicago. They lost to Pittsburgh, but made it close. Like, yeah, sure, they're having slow starts, but they're still right there. Is this a concern for you?
Yes, but the reason why I think that I'm concerned about it is how draining it is to come from behind. Like it's you get tired. It's tiresome always chasing the game like that, right? Instead of, and I find that the Oilers are a different team when they score first, and the other team has to chase, and that opens up more opportunities. Now, very unique situation with this time of the year, that many games on the road, being on the road all the time, playing a bunch of different teams that you don't play too often, but the Oilers had been rolling, right? So again, you get to a point where there's no nights off. You're getting the other team's best effort, especially within that first 10 to 15 minutes, right? They are ready to play you. And a little bit, I mean, it's funny because it seemed like the first few shifts looked good, right, for the Oilers. And then the other team would get a break and score, and then it was like, and then they got some juice and kind of poured it on for a little bit. So it was odd that way, but I think I didn't like the way that they kind of waded into games and tried to see what type of game is this going to be tonight, instead of just playing Edmonton Oiler hockey. Find that identity that they have in that second period where they're just relentless. If they can, you can't keep that up for the whole 60 minutes. I realize that, but again, I think they can even out that effort throughout the whole game, which would allow them to at least not get down by 2-3 goals after the first period. Because, like they said, in playoffs, everything's locked down even more. It's going to even be way more difficult to come back in those types of scenarios.
I just thought in Vancouver, Gagers, that typical end of the road trip game, like you saw that coming from a mile away, that they might have not had all the juice required to win that one, because it was 3-2. I don't think Vancouver was excellent in the game. They were better than the Oilers, but I found the Oilers sloppy in the first and especially in the third period. But is it as simple as that? That was one of those games after a long road trip that you were just kind of like, yeah, they might lose this one.
I felt that way after the first, right? Even after 2-0, I was like, but yeah, I'm thinking, okay, this is the last game of this trip. These guys just want to get home, and enough's enough with these hotels and things like that. I understand it. It's at the end of a trip like that. And even though they were able to come home for a second, that was basically a road trip too. You just stayed at a bed and breakfast instead of a hotel at that point, So this is where, tomorrow night is interesting, a couple days off, playing a very surprising team with the Washington Capitals. And, you as a goalie, you do not want, it's like, when guys are chasing the home runs, you don't want to be the pitcher to give up that home run so this guy breaks the record. I'm pretty sure we'll probably see Stuart Skinner. He doesn't want to be one of the goals that Ovi scores to get closer to Gretzky's record, right? He did it last year. Like, he just stoned him. But no, hopefully, and I'm almost positive that you'll see a much better first period from the Edmonton Oilers, and that would be as a coach, that's what I would be focusing on, is that just that first 20. And we're coming out of there tied or with the lead, but we're not coming in here chasing the game.
So we're getting Capitals who are on a 4-game win streak. You know how many goals they've given up in the last 4 games, Gager?
Probably not many.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Logan Thompson was one of the 3 stars of the week, right? So this guy's playing just lights out right now, which is good for him. I mean, unfortunate that he's not part of Canada's Four Nations. He deserved it, right? Yeah. He deserved a look. With his play up to that point, I thought he should be considered.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough matchup. Lucky Charlie says the Oilers either get a shutout or allow a goal in the first 3-5 shots. There's no really in between with this team. And that's as of late. Sure, I agree. With the last 5-6 games, the Oilers have really struggled in that first period, and they got to stop doing that. They know they can't keep going this way because, like Gager said, you keep playing from behind, it's just you're just asking for trouble. You have the talent to get back into games, but you can't do that every single night. So, and I don't know. I know the Vancouver Canucks GM spoke minutes ago, and there's reports that there's deals that are close for JT Miller. I'm hearing Carolina's in there. Who's the other team? The Rangers. I'm hearing New Jersey is out, but that's heating up. And the GM spoke and he didn't really commit to anything. You never get anything out of those conversations with the GM. So we'll wait, and if anything drops before 3, we will let you know for sure. Same with if there's word on what Connor McDavid will get as a suspension. All right, in the third segment, because we went a little bit long here, we will hear from the newest member of the Edmonton Oilers, John Klingberg, and we'll break down what he has to say and kind of a timeline that Chris Knobloch gave us today in regards to Mr. Klingberg and when we can see him suit up for the Edmonton Oilers. Portions of this hour brought to you by the Canadian Brew House. Host your team or league fundraiser at the Canadian Brew House for a chance to win $2,500. With tons of options to choose from, the Canadian Brew House can help you raise the funds for your crew. Details in store or online at thecanadianbrewhouse.com. Up next, we hear from John Klingberg here on EST Afternoons. Here's Coob with your sports update.
In response to Connor McDavid's cross-check to the head of Connor Garland Saturday night, the league spoke with McDavid about the incident without any details on the response just yet. And clearing through waivers, Derek Ryan heads to Bakersfield to report to the Condors, while John Klingberg had his first practice as a member of the Oilers, having head coach Chris Knobloch saying Klingberg won't see any action with the team for at least a week. And with 9 games on tap, the Bruins took a late lead against the Sharks, 4-3 after being down 2-3. Right now, they're up 6-3 in the dying minutes of that one. And the Wild have the lone goal in their game against the Avalanche, nearing first intermission. And after that, the Sabres play the Kraken, the Hurricanes battle the Blackhawks, and the Jets go at it against the Hockey Club. Seeing the Oilers back at it tomorrow. Down south, Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network is reporting that the Bears are finalizing a deal to hire Ben Johnson as their next head coach. And in basketball, 3 games are ongoing, seeing the Pistons up 79-67 on the Rockets entering the fourth. The Grizzlies down 51-37 at halftime against the Timberwolves, while the Hawks hold the Knicks 25-18 in the second. And later, the Jazz and Pelicans play. Boston visits Golden State, and the Bulls meet the Clippers, having 8 games on tap. This sports update is brought to you by Capital Care. Financial support deeply affects residents at Capital Care, and whether it's a one-time donation or a monthly contribution, every penny counts. Find out how you can donate at capitalcarefoundation.net. We hear from John Klingberg on the other side of the break here on EST Afternoons. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're in the loop.
Make a fresh start in the new year with Sentinel Storage. With convenient locations near you, Sentinel Storage is here to help you make space for everything 2024 holds. Sentinel Storage. Shop Canadian, store Canadian. Try 4 weeks free. Visit sentinelstorage.ca.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
How do you beat those winter blues? How about a double shot of classic rock? River Cree Resort and Casino and K97 proudly present Helix and Sweet. February 28th, live in the venue. Helix and Sweet. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Hockey lives at the Canadian Brew House. Every Oilers game day, get $1 off tankards of Molson Canadian and Coors Light. Plus, you can win game tickets and a surf and turf dinner for two at the end of the season. Full details at thecanadianbrewhouse.com.
It's 1:44. Welcome back to EST Afternoons. Hernan, Salas, Zach Kubish here at the William Huff Studios in the west end of the city. It's a cold one. It's supposed to get a little bit nicer today and then throughout the week. So nice little break there. Joaquin live from his home. He's a busy boy, so he's there today. And if you missed it in the update, the Chicago Bears sounds like they're finalizing a deal to hire Ben Johnson as their new head coach, of course, the OC from the Detroit Lions, who made a horrible call yesterday in the game, and then an even more horrible decision by his receiver to throw a ball. But we're going to get to the NFL recap. The games are awesome.
Yeah.
I said all the visiting teams would win. Only one did, but that was probably the best game of the weekend, and some heartbreak in the others for sure. But we'll get to that in the next segment, Gager. Let's hear from the new guy. Mr. John Klingberg was signed on Friday. We got the Klingberg bump on all the shows. That was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
People were stoked. But here is John Klingberg, his first meeting with the Edmonton media following their skate this morning.
Here for a few months. Just how do you feel after the surgery?
Yeah, no, I feel incredible. I have way more motion, not any pain anymore, which is exciting. So, no, I feel great, and I'm very happy to be here now.
How many years did you play with pain?
I mean, it's been there my entire career, but pain, like I'm not sure you can always deal with pain, but it's always been something that's been there, but being able to play through. But then over the last few years, it's been gradually getting worse and worse. And it came to a point last year where something happened during the game. I just felt that there's no way I'm going to be able to play another 80 games here. So that's when we decided to go down that road. And I'm happy I did. I feel so much better. I have so much more motion and no pain. So that's incredible.
What was it about Edmonton that you chose then?
Obviously, you just look up and down the lineup and see what kind of team they have, and also how good they were last year. There's been some mutual interest there before as well, but came to a point now where I felt like I had really good talks with Stan and Chris and Paul as well, and just seeing how they play and how I can fit in the team and obviously build on that. I think it could be a good fit.
Playing in the bubble here, so you got produced in Edmonton. Does that have any bearing on things at all?
What's that?
Playing in the bubble here in Edmonton, did that have any bearing on here like that?
No, I wouldn't say that just because I was here for the bubble. But it is nice to obviously moving back into the same hotel that I spent almost 70 nights. So I'm pretty familiar with the area. So, and obviously just being here the first day today, the locker room and how things are set up here for the players is obviously world class. This is an unbelievable locker room, and the facility, like whatever the players need, they got it here.
John, the system that they play, you'll probably start with Darnell Nurse, but they obviously you got to defend well, but they really want you to move the puck. How do you think your style of play, your skill set will complement this team?
Yeah, obviously a big part of my game is possession, playing with the puck and creating offense, but also I want to be reliable on the defensive side as well, and I haven't been over the last few years, which I know, and that's something that I'm going to have to come back and prove that I can be some kind of a corner piece in a successful team, and that's how I look at it. For me, it's important to come back and obviously contribute with the puck, but being reliable defensively as well, and I think that's something that I hope and pretty confident that it's going to be a lot better just because the way I move. So. But like I said, where I slot in, when I slot in, I'm not sure yet, but I'm just happy to be here and work my way through the last couple of things here and hopefully be able to play.
That was John Klingberg meeting with the Edmonton media following his first skate with the Edmonton Oilers. Some interesting things there. Says he feels incredible, more motion, and the pain is gone. I like the... He's familiar with the Marriott there, Gage. He spent 7 nights in the hotel there as they went to the finals. No, was it the? Yeah, they went to the finals. Also, and listen, minus 85 in his last 4 seasons. And he admitted, he goes, I wasn't good defensively as of late, and a lot of it had to do with the injuries he's dealing with. Knobloch says he's still about a week away from actually playing. They want to get him in, they don't want to rush him in, so it's going to be about a week at least, but they also want to get him into the lineup and the game before the Four Nations. Gage, have you, over the weekend, did anything change in Gage's mind? Are you more excited, or do you still feel the same that it's a low risk, but you still don't see a lot of upside to it?
It's funny, man, because I think this over the last few days over the weekend, I'll just say how many people that I've talked to all over the spectrum where thank God we can get rid of Bouchard to oh my gosh, we can maybe one person was saying to kick Nuge off the power play and put Bouch over where Nuge is, and now we can have a real quarterback on the power play, and just like everything under the sun. So I would have to say I'm probably more intrigued now just because of all the scenarios that people have talked to me about over the last 3 days. I want to see which avenue this takes,
Yeah.
You're gonna take some time, and just hearing John talk there, and he said it. I want to be relied upon defensively, and you just said it too, Nanso. Like I wonder how much the hip was affecting his actual play, and he said my movement's way better, and obviously being able to move as a defender is the most crucial part of it. And that probably hindered him in to be successful on the defensive side of the puck. You can't bring him in too fast, like just, I think, a slow drip, right? I wouldn't expect him to come in and play like 15 minutes or whatever. Yeah. He's going to get, they'll probably watch his ice time a little bit. But with an injury like that, it's kind of like the frog in the boiling pot, right? So he doesn't realize how the progression, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And you said it, like he just said, there is no way I can play 80 games with this. And he's glad he got it done. It's kind of got a new lease on life, seems excited. And at least this way he'll be able to join Tommy at Honey or whatever once in a while, because he was so locked down before, right?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they slot him in. Like you said, are they going to slow roll him into the lineup, start him on the third line, then eventually work him up with Darnell Nurse? there's no doubt he can move the puck, Gager. That's one of his strongest parts of his game. I understand that, but and I think Tommy and Dusty had a great oil stream. They were both really fired up about everything Oiler related, and Tommy was fired up where he said, this guy has to be able to defend. That's the biggest thing. We all know he can move the puck. We all know he can run power play too if he'd like, and sometimes moonlight on the first one if Bouchard's tired or he's not having a good game. We get that. But can he defend against the other team's top two lines? Because that's what he's going to be asked to do if he's with Darnell Nurse, Gager. Can he kill penalties? Unlikely. Who knows? But for me, the biggest question mark and why I'm not as optimistic as some is because he struggled defensively. Now, it could be because of the injury, and he's fixed that, sure. And this guy was an absolute stud in his early years with the Dallas Stars. But I'm still I'm holding back because I got to see him defensively, Gage.
Well, and it's going to take time too, right? And it's unfortunate it isn't the beginning of the season. This is, you only got half the season left here, and it's for a guy that hasn't played in a year. It's not a lot of runway to get back up to speed.
Yeah.
So I think you have to give him at least 10 to 15 games, which is unfortunate. But I've made this reference before. It's jumping on a 20-mile-an-hour treadmill right now with the way guys are going. This isn't the NHL out of training camp, which is already at a very high level. But these guys, it's the best players in the world playing essentially every second night at the top level. So everyone is really, really dialed in and good right now. So, you say you can move the puck, but NHL speed, that takes a while to get used to if you've been off for a year and a half.
Yeah. I mean, he looks like a hockey player. He's got the missing chiclets.
Oh, I know. That's he's got the look. It's great.
He's got the look. Zulu says this could have great upside. Of course it does. If it works out, then kudos to the management team, but this can also go sideways real quick. And Jasmine says he seems eager and positive to join the Oilers. Yeah, and he said it there. He looked at the team, and what's interesting to me is that he goes, we've had talks before, because Klingberg's been on the Oilers' radar for a while now, it seems, and I know the fan base was always kind of throwing his name out there, and at the time, I always thought it was unrealistic because he was so good in Dallas, Gage. I was like, why would Dallas get rid of this guy? He's their best defenseman.
Jasmine should take a page out of his book and be a little bit more positive. That's
so let's go with this. Lines today at practice, RNH with McDavid and Hyman. Of course, that can change as we await news on Connor McDavid's crosscheck. To the noggin of Connor Garland. Podkolzin with Draisaitl on Arvidsson. Jeff Skinner to the third line, Gager, with Henrique and Brown. And your fourth line is Janmark, Philp, and Perry with Kasperi Kapanen, your extra forward. And then Ekholm with Bush, Nurse with Stetcher, Kulak with Emberson, Klingberg, your seventh. And again, he's not expected to play for at least a week. And the boys let him lead the stretch today. Gager, I got a bunch of questions here regarding Josh Brown. Of course, he was sent down to the minors. For the life of me, Gager, I don't want to get into too much. I don't know why the Oilers went 11-7 on Saturday at the tail end of a road trip when your guys are gassed and you don't play Josh Brown or Stetcher a lot. It made no sense to me. Nothing.
You're answering your own question right there, Nanso. I think someone's a little bit banged up on the back end.
Okay.
And that's the reason why you're going 11-7 is because you don't want to go down to 12-5, right? If someone's not able to go.
That's a good point. Could be Ekholm too, right?
Yeah, I won't bet the house, but I'm sure that is the reason why they do that is because they just don't know if and you said Ekholm, it could be Ekholm that's maybe he's a little under the weather or has got something, but if that's the case, I would rest him, maybe take a little load management at this point for a 35-year-old. I don't think he's an important piece, I get it, but just take care of yourself.
You got to give him the Kawhi treatment. And we'll end with this one. X-Ray J says, Joaquin, in your professional opinion, is Josh Brown an NHL quality defender?
Yeah, I think there's something there. He can I mean, there's a lot of guys like that, right? But he's like Liam Neeson. He's got a particular set of skills that he's been able to develop over the course of his career that a lot of guys don't have, and that's just beating the tar out of people, right? So not a lot of guys can do that. I think he was brought in to kind of look to see if he could be that Desharnais kind of player.
Yeah.
But I don't think he is as mobile as Vinny is, and not as proficient as a penalty killer. And they went on a flyer to try to do that. And if they could have, and they probably tried to offer, it was probably the same thing for Vinny, $1 million, right? They just couldn't pay more. But it was a calculated guess to see if they could do that. But it just didn't really work out. But yes, I do think that he can. There is a role on him in certain situations for NHL teams.
Yeah, and I think you're right on in saying that. I think if you put Vinny and Josh Brown, most Oiler fans would take Vinny. I think Vinny offers a little bit more.
A little bit more, yeah. He's got that penalty killing ability, right? Yeah. And it doesn't seem to be working out well for him in Vancouver, but which is a little bit surprising to me. I thought that he's we've said it. We thought he would be perfect as one of Tocchet's boys there, but like we've seen with not only players with the Edmonton Oilers that have come from other places, just to get that to feel comfortable and get your game to a place where it was prior is difficult coming to a new organization.
Yeah. So I think Josh Brown might still get in a few games here, Gage, or who knows. But now with Klingberg, when he's eventually ready to go, Stetcher is your seventh guy. And it's interesting because Tommy and I were talking about it on Saturday after the game, and we were kind of leaning towards they might go Stetcher because Josh Brown was playing more than Stetcher when they were both drawing in with the 11-7. But I just think Stetcher is an upgrade on Josh Brown just because he gets around the ice a little bit better, moves the puck a little bit better. But he is going to be the seventh. And then let's say they're okay with Klingberg. He's been okay. Maybe he's on your third pair. I still think the Oilers are going to try to find that top four guy. I think this is a good runway for them to see what Klingberg can bring them following the surgery, Gager, and then they'll go from there. So it's going to be interesting times here in Edmonton. We'll await word on Connor McDavid's crosscheck and Tyler Myers for that note as well. You just heard from John Klingberg. Derek Ryan cleared waivers. He'll make his way down to Baco. And we discussed the slow starts. But up next, we'll continue more Oilers at 2:20 with Daniel Nugent-Bowman from The Athletic. We'll get his thoughts on all the topics we talked about here in the first hour. But up next, we're going to do a fun little recap on the NFL games because they were pretty exciting. And the Final Four are set. That's all coming up here on EST Afternoons on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. We're back after the break.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
How do you beat those winter blues? How about a double shot of classic rock? River Cree Resort and Casino and K97 proudly present Helix and Sweet. February 28th, live in the venue. Helix and Sweet. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
After getting booted from Saturday's game for cross-checking Canucks forward Connor Garland, Connor McDavid has faced the league for a hearing on his infraction, and details on the league's response to that have yet to come. Earlier today, John Klingberg suited up for his first practice in Edmonton, while head coach Chris Knobloch said Klingberg will not play for at least a week. Elsewhere, Derek Ryan cleared waivers as he reports to the Bakersfield Condors. Right now in the NHL, the Avs are down 1-0 to the Wild entering the second, and earlier the Bruins doubled up the Sharks 6-3. Later, the Blues face the Golden Knights, and the Lightning meet the Maple Leafs as Max Pacioretty sits out for Toronto due to a lower body injury on a 9-game slate. And it was Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network reporting that the Bears are finalizing a deal to hire Ben Johnson as their next head coach. In other news, the Colts are hiring former Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, according to both Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport on Twitter. And on the court right now, 4 games are live, seeing the Timberwolves up 56-47 on the Grizzlies at half. The Pistons are up by 10 on the Rockets in the fourth. The Knicks and Hawks are in a tight one, 37-31. Knicks in the second, while the Suns lead 27-23 early on the Cavs. I'm Zachary Kubish for your sports update. Hour 2 of EST Afternoons starts right now.
Hour 2 here on EST Afternoons. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. If you're listening, it's the iHeart and TuneIn radio apps. If you'd like to watch us, EST YouTube channel. Hit us up on the Nasty Chat and give us a thumbs up. We're at 56, so only 44 away from 100. Let's go. The viewership is nice and high today with the nice awaiting the Connor McDavid suspension bump. So hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so. And also hit us up on the River Cree inbox 780-218-9999. It's Hernan Salas. It's Joaquin Gage. It's Zach Kubish. Gager, where do you want to start with the NFL? What game do you want to go to first?
Well, let's go Commanders first.
What a game.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Man, Daniels is just something else.
Unreal, man.
It was unreal. I mean, when you hear other people just they're just flabbergasted at the poise of this young guy, and this no situation is too big for him right now. What he was able to do against Lions, I was shocked actually. I thought that great got in here, but hopefully he has a learning experience. But now you're like, geez, is this kid for real? And obviously he is at this point. And what he was able to do over the weekend was unbelievable.
Unreal.
And you have to look at it as, you can't count the Commanders out with him at the helm, right? Like, he's just so dangerous of what he can do. There's so many things that he can make plays out of nothing. Not unlike a lot of the top QBs too, right? But he just seems so versatile and so smooth out there. I mean, it makes next weekend even more exciting. To me though, I don't know if you're the same, because I think KC's just a juggernaut. I don't know why. I think it's inevitable that they're going to win again, and I hate seeing blowouts in football. I like them to come down to the final plays, and it's so exciting. And I don't want to see him get all the way there and then have to go up against a team and just get completely pummeled. Or I want to see exciting football the rest of the way out.
Yeah, we'll get to the Chiefs. I got a lot of bone to pick with those guys. But like you said, Jaden Daniels, he doesn't look like a rookie, man. Like unreal throws. McLaurin, outstanding. Robinson, their running back, outstanding. The defense came to play. Like the second quarter, Gager, Commanders touchdown, followed by a Lions touchdown, followed by a Commanders touchdown, then a pick six for the Commanders, and then a Williams awesome rushing touchdown, and then a Zach Ertz touchdown. It was amazing second quarter, man. That was the most electrifying second quarter I think I've ever watched in football. Now, a few things. On the pick six, Goff took a headshot that, if that's reviewable, that's called back. Like, that was a bad hit. I'm surprised he returned, man.
Yeah. I know. That was right to the jaw. Oh gosh,
he's concussed. I don't care if he passed concussion protocol. There's no way he was good after that hit. No way.
Not a chance. No one would be.
The other part is give the ball to Gibbs, man. Every time that guy touched the ball, he was electric, but they go away from it. And then Ben Johnson took some heat for the play, but that's the way he calls plays. He's very creative. He's kind of out of the box. But he calls the play, and there's a couple different swap passes there. It ends up with, I think it was Williams, and he just throws it. And there's one of his guys there, but it was 2-on-1. That pass had no chance. Like, throw it out of bounds. Stay alive. Just bad overall, and it goes to cost them. But, Gager, I want to say this. Remember last year, everybody was praising Dan Campbell about the cojones he had for going on and on every fourth down and cost his team a chance at the Super Bowl, because as a Niners fan, the Lions had that game in the bag. They did. And I remember last year, I wasn't on the radio yet, but I remember talking to people at the Elks, and I was like, if I'm Lions fans, I'm pissed at my coach, because there is no guarantee in pro sports that you will be back. Look at the Lions. They had their best season ever in the history of the Lions. They were top 3 team in the NFL, and they lose to the Commanders, a wild card team with a rookie quarterback. I'd still be pissed at Dan Campbell, because last year he cost his team. They had it wrapped up to go to the Super Bowl because he wanted to be bold and go at it on fourth downs. And they weren't 4-1. They were 4 in medium. Some were 4-10. And he cost them that. And you never know, right, Gager? That's what I'm saying, that you never know if you're going to go back to the big show.
And maybe that's the sign of an immature team a little bit, right? Not realizing how hard it is to get back to those types of situations, to battle for it. And it's hard to do when these one and done playoff situations, right, are so difficult, I think. And sometimes the best team doesn't win because it comes down to who's best on that day, right? And usually the team with the better skill or the better execution wins. But anything can happen in these one game playoffs, which makes it so exciting, I think.
Of course,
right? But no, I think this is where, not unlike if you look to the Oilers, they get a little bit ahead of themselves. Maybe we're further along than what we were. I don't think that's the case with the Lions, though. Like, they had a lot of injuries, right, on the defensive side.
They did. Yes, that's
fair. So, if they're a healthy team, I couldn't really tell you if that's a massive difference just because of Jaden Daniels, how good he is. But it would have helped. You can't say it wouldn't. Having Hutchinson in their lineup would have made him mad, because he's a game changer.
He's an absolute beast.
He can change games, and he's an emotional leader for that Lions team. So they'll be back, though. I think the Lions will be good for a few years here. Like we saw with a few other quarterbacks. It's just a lot of Goff and Lamar are probably not having the best days today.
I felt bad for our guy Dusty. He's been waiting so long for this, and they just crush his soul. Let's move on to the Texans, Kansas City Chiefs. Probably the worst game of the 4, Gager. I'm just getting tired of the Chiefs getting all the calls. Like, some of those roughing the passer were just ridiculous. And then Mahomes, to top it off, tries to sell one that surprisingly didn't throw the flag on. Like, this is getting beyond ridiculous. Like, they get the benefit of the doubt. And I get it. Sure, you're one of the top teams. You're going for the three-peat. and in all sports, we don't like it, but yeah, the refs, sometimes you earn that kind of, you earn those calls. But they're getting it way too much. Now, the Texans weren't on their best game either, but I'm just tired of Mahomes that you can't even touch the guy. Like on one of the flags, Gage, the two Texans players hit each other. They didn't even hit him. They just landed on him.
Yeah, it looked like they all in game speed though. It does look like there's head contact, right?
Sure,
but but it turns out they didn't. They both hit each other. What really perturbed me, where I think I switched the channel, was when Mahomes tried to sell that thing going out of bounds and falling down. I'm like, come on, man. And he puts himself in those situations, and I don't know, that is frustrating because of the amount of Chiefs hate that they get. And now they're what does Maddie call it? Embellishment or gamesmanship that they're pulling to throughout the whole year. Even my mother was talking about the Chiefs and how they're mad at. She asked questions about the refs and things like that, and I go, well, they do get their fair share of calls, which don't seem to go the other way too. It'll be interesting next game to see what happens, right? Like,
I'm just tired of them, Gager.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's got Chiefs fatigue, so to speak, and we'll see if one Mr. Allen can finally end this little thing, which I don't think they can, man. I know the Bills are good, but Patrick Mahomes, he finds a way. Smitty
the Welder says, not even at game speed, it looked like he got hit. You could clearly see the Texans' helmets hit each other. I was like, yeah, man. Like it's. I'll say this though, with the connection between the Chiefs and the refs, there were some funny memes on the good old X machine on Saturday following that game that I really enjoyed, Gager.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get to the big game, your Rams, I thought they were going to get it done there at the end. They're inside the 20. They take the sack on 3rd and 5, and that kind of takes them out of range. Crazy snow there. It was just, man, I can't stand the Eagles, so I really wanted the Rams to see them get this one, but just fell too short on that 3rd down. That led to the sack, and then when you're 4th and a little bit long, it's always going to be trouble, especially in those conditions.
Yeah, and for Eagles fans, they got to be it looked like it was out of reach when Barkley went for that run, right? And it seemed that's over. I was hoping to get an Eagles guy on. We have to get one on soon because this is listening to that game. They have their Eagles song, right?
Yep.
So Barkley gets that touchdown, and they start singing the Eagles song. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. Is this the same as the Wave? yeah. I thought it was because they played it, and I'm like, what are you doing? It looks like it's over, but you want to make sure. Don't start playing that song now. And then Stafford does what Stafford does. He makes magic out of nothing. And that Puka Nacua catch down the sideline, unbelievable throw. Like, you can never count Stafford out. He's awesome. And then of course the sack, and they just overthrew it at the end. But man, that Eagles song, because they played it after the final play there, which made sense. But geez, that I'm sure there was things were getting tight in that stadium and in Philadelphia when Stafford looked like they were coming back in that game.
The DJ got a good smack after the game. Say, don't you ever play that song again.
Oh gosh, no.
Because even when he did score the touchdown, Barkley, like even the commentators, pretty much it was over. And then you're looking back at it and you're like, holy crap, the Rams have a chance here. And they could have tied it if they don't take that damn sack.
Yeah.
Bonnie Dunron says, unfortunately, the refs will be biased and we'll see Casey win another Super Bowl. Jason and Leduc says, Mahomes is life. He finds a way. Zach Holman says, Gage, you're a Rams fan? Me too. Well, I don't think you're a Rams fan. You just like,
no, I like the way they play, and I like Stafford. They're never down. I just thought what they did this year was impressive, just because of the amount of injuries they had, and I thought they really had a good chance at doing something this year, just because of the way that their season went. That's a confident team, you know.
Yeah, and then this one just came in onto the Nasty Chat as well. Diggs in Port Moody. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. Go Chiefs. Oh, that's interesting, Gager, because the team on Saturday did that to the Oilers games.
Yeah.
If we're okay with the Chiefs doing it, we should be okay with the Canucks doing it to the Oilers. All right, let's get to the Let's get to the big game. Bills Ravens. A hot start for Lamar. First drive, touchdown. And then kind of playoff Lamar started to show up, a pick, a fumble. Josh Allen was awesome in the first half, kind of MIA in the second. The Bills couldn't get much going there till the end. And then is anyone having a worse day than Mark Andrews today? Holy smokes, Gage. I couldn't believe that.
That was so sad. So sad to see that. Like, and they talked about the ball the whole game, right?
Yeah.
It's slippery, it's hard to catch and things like that. But that just seems so automatic. And look, Lamar was human in that first half. Although you mentioned the opening drive, he looked amazing.
Yeah.
But trying to make something out of nothing in these situations all the time. Like, you can't keep giving the ball away.
Yeah.
And it resulted in points like that. When you're going down like that on the sack, don't protect the ball. Don't try to wing it out there, you know? And you see what happens. They go down and get points off that turnover. It's sad because I'd like to see Lamar in a Super Bowl at least once. Yeah. But he's getting,
running out of time.
He is. There's been great quarterbacks, that have never won one. And I hate to see that. I hate to see greatness not get rewarded by winning at least one big one. But he's there's something. There's regular season Lamar Jackson and there's playoff Lamar Jackson. And that's been, now that we've seen it over the past few seasons, I don't know. I mean, he's a great player, one of the best. But unless you can do it when it really matters, you're just a good quarterback.
Yeah, that's the big thing. And he was notably frustrated following the game. Said, "It's on me. I'm sick of this bleep, bleep, bleep stuff." Like, it's always a couple plays that are hurting them. And I mean, you go to you score that. There's still a minute 30 for Josh Allen. Who knows what happens? Or you go to overtime, which would, as a guy that wasn't rooting for anyone in that game, I was like, let's go to overtime. I want to see this. And then you're kind of watching it and you're seeing the route and you're like, he's got him. And then Mark Andrews, he's got it. No, he doesn't. It was just amazing. And very, it's obviously tough for Ravens fans and for that team. They're looking to take that next step. They just can't get it done, Gage. Or they might be one of those teams that Lamar might be one of those quarterbacks that's great in the regular season, just can't get it done in the playoffs. But he's still got time here. And it's weird for me to root for Josh Allen and the Bills. I'm not a big fan of the Bills, but I want him to demolish the Chiefs. I do.
Yeah, that's not happening, buddy.
And on the other side, I want to see the Commanders win, man. Like, can you imagine they're going to the Super Bowl? Like, oh my God, with Jaden Daniels, it would be amazing.
Well, I think the one thing they have going for them is they're such underdogs, right? Yeah. And if you'd ask any other team who they like to play against, probably they'd all say, "Well, the Commanders. They got this young quarterback. We can do something and try to create a game plan that he's never seen at this level yet." Which they've done so far. No one's been able to figure it out yet. Yeah. But I mean, I think that's the matchup you want. You want the reigning best QB against the up and coming guy, right? In the final game, that would be something.
So T-Mac, the rugby guy, clears the Eagles stuff up for us. He says they sing and play "Fly Eagles Fly" after every TD.
Okay.
So it's not just like a winning song. We wouldn't know that because we're not Eagles
I didn't
fans.
hear it before, so or maybe I just didn't. Okay, so that was it. All right, I just was like, "Jeez, what are they doing?"
Yeah, it's kind of like their goal song. I'm going to pay attention to their next game to see if I hear it after. But sounds like T-Mac's an Eagles guy, so he would know a lot better then we would. All right, guys, we got to get to a break here. Keep the text coming into the River Cree inbox at 780-218-9999. The afternoon inbox is presented by the River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the Tap 25 restaurant, where the entire menu is 50% off 7 days a week from 2 to 5 p.m. Coming up next, we'll switch gears. Once again, we'll talk more Oilers with our guy, Daniel Nugent-Bowman from The Athletic here on EST Afternoons. Keep hammering that thumbs up. We're still far away from 100, so if you haven't done so, please hit the thumbs up for EST Afternoons, and let's get to 100. Daniel Nugent-Bowman up next here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Here's Zach with your sports update.
In response to Connor McDavid's crosscheck to the head of Connor Garland Saturday night, the league had a hearing with McDavid regarding the incident, and no details on the league's response have yet to come. Details expected soon. And after clearing through waivers, Derek Ryan heads to Bakersfield to report to the Condors, while John Klingberg had his first practice as a member of the Oilers, having head coach Chris Knobloch saying Klingberg won't see any action for at least a week. And with 9 games on tap, the Bruins took a late lead against the Sharks to win 6-3. And right now, the Wild have the lone goal in their game against the Avalanche midway through the contest, while the Kraken and Sabres are tied at 1-1 just about 10 minutes into that one. After that, the Hurricanes battle the Blackhawks, and the Jets go at it with the Hockey Club, seeing the Oilers back at it tomorrow. And down south, Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network is reporting that the Bears are finalizing a deal to hire Ben Johnson as their next head coach. In other news, the Colts are set to hire former Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, according to both Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport on Twitter. In basketball, 3 games are ongoing, seeing the Cavs up 10 on the Suns in the second. The Timberwolves leading 68-60 on the Grizzlies nearing the end of the third, while the Hawks have taken a 6-point lead over the Knicks entering the half. This sports update is brought to you by Windsor Plywood Leduc. Locally owned and operated since 1993, they're more than just plywood. They offer everything from doors and flooring to decking, fencing, and custom millwork. With a huge selection of hardwoods and knowledgeable staff, they're here for your DIY needs. Windsor Plywood Leduc, the experts you need to know. We have a quick timeout before Daniel Nugent-Bowman of The Athletic joins the show to continue the Oilers discussion. I'm Zachary Kubish, and that was your sports update.
Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Hockey lives at the Canadian Brew House. Every Oilers game day, get $1 off tankards of Molson Canadian and Coors Light. Plus, you can win game tickets and a surf and turf dinner for 2 at the end of the season. Full details at thecanadianbrewhouse.com.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of The Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Got some gently used furniture or home goods that need a new home? Find Edmonton is here to help. Every month we furnish over 100 homes to those transitioning out of homelessness, and we need your gently used furniture and home goods. Drop off at 5120 122nd Street or call for free local pickup. Just visit findedmonton.com to learn how your donations can help create a home for someone in need. Plus shop our thrift store, in-store or online, with proceeds benefit those moving out of homelessness through housing supports. Visit us at findedmonton.com. Find Edmonton, supporting our community one home at a time.
2:26 Monday afternoon. Welcome back to EST Afternoons here from the William Huff Studios. Joaquin, Gage, Hernan, Salas, Zach Kubish with you. As lots to get to. Busy time for the Edmonton Oilers. They're back in game action tomorrow at home against the Washington Capitals. We await the verdict on Mr. Connor McDavid for his cross-check to Connor Garland on Saturday night. Klingberg spoke to the media. Derek Ryan has cleared waivers. And slow starts, are they becoming a problem? We'll find out here tomorrow if they have another bad first period. But to talk all things Edmonton Oilers, we are joined by Daniel Nugent-Bowman from The Athletic. Daniel, how you doing, buddy? We'll call him back as... we'll call Daniel back here as once again Darth Vader has joined us on the show. I don't know why this always happens, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. Gotta get this phone stuff worked out here. So, anywho, Daniel Nugent-Bowman, he was down at practice. We'll get a good idea of everything that's going on with the Edmonton Oilers. If you had the hearing today, Gage, they're going to announce this today, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean,
later this afternoon into the evening, maybe.
Probably, yeah. I don't know why they don't broadcast these things. I think it would be great. Wouldn't it be like seeing the conversation between, like, why not? All this secrecy, like they're probably just going to review it, go over it. I've never seen more curiosity's sake, I think, in this case. Like, Connor gets into the meeting. Is it over the phone? Is it Zoom? Right?
Yeah.
I think I just think there's so many things that you could do to grow the game, to give a little bit more of a glimpse behind the curtain that other types of things, how the whole process works, right? And I'm sure most guys are on their best behavior, but what are the questions? What do they go through? You know, what you cross-check the guy in the head. Can't do that. Yeah, I know. Or is it like when
I was mad.
Like, yeah, do you have to explain yourself, right? Is it like when I get mad at my kids and sit them down? You know, like how do these things go?
All right, I think we got Daniel Nugent-Bowman back on the line. Daniel, you there? Daniel, are you there? Or do we have you? Nope. Daniel, let's just try him again, please. I don't know what's going on. If Gager was here, I'd fly over there and try to see what the issue is. So, it'd be interesting to be able to see what happens. But it's just like, hey, like, what did you see on the play? Why did you do it? And I remember in soccer when we used to like run a team with our buddies and we'd have hearings for red cards and all. It was very similar. It's like you're a little kid, right? You're a grown man there sitting with people and like, why'd you do it? And you're like, you give them all the BS you can, right? Like, oh, I just got up in the moment, or I didn't mean to do it, and then they assess it and go like that. So we'll see what happens. I'm expecting something later today. Keep it locked here on EST as we'll have the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Millen 3 to 6. I'm sure it more than likely will drop during their show, so keep it locked on Edmonton Sports Talk. They'll break it down. It's just unfortunate because it's Ovechkin tomorrow, right? And it doesn't have the same. It doesn't have the same feel as Crosby and Connor McDavid, anything like that. But it's still two of the greats. A guy that's going to break Gretzky's record, and Connor, who's one of the best players of all time. It's going to be unfortunate that the fans are going to miss out on that.
Yeah. But one of the things you get to look forward to is now, and who knows? I mean, if things go to plan, the Caps are a good team, man. They're a really good team. You have to consider them one of the favorites in the East. How does Coach Nabla implement the lines without Connor McDavid probably in the lineup, right?
Yeah.
What does this kind of look like?
It's going to be interesting. Now, third time, hopefully it's the lucky one here. Daniel Nugent-Bowman from The Athletic joins us here on EST Afternoons. Daniel, how you doing?
I'm well. I swear I paid my phone bill.
No, it wasn't you, my friend. It wasn't you. But thank you for taking the time to join us. I know it's been a busy time for everybody covering the Edmonton Oilers. So let's get right to it, Daniel. As we all await Connor McDavid. Sounds like the hearing has been done. Now we just await the word. What do you see happening here? If it is a suspension, how many games? And is there any possibility this is just a fine in your eyes?
Well, I honestly, I think it has happened, but I cannot remember a time when a guy actually has a hearing and he doesn't get suspended. Yeah. It's incredibly rare. So, I mean, you cross-check the guy in the head. So, I mean, I think a suspension's inevitable. You got a match penalty, which comes with an automatic suspension pending review by the commissioner. Like, I think it's an inevitability that he does get suspended. This guy's he's played. This is his 10th year in the league. He's been suspended once. I know we've gone over some questionable incidents of late. Especially the possible elbow on Johansson last week. So he's not perfectly squeaky clean, but one suspension, that's what they go on. And it happened in early in 2019 calendar year. So we're basically 6 years ago. Kind of look at it the same, very similar to the Austin Matthews one in the outdoor game a little while back, where he got 2 games for the cross-check on Rasmus Dahlin. So I would guess 2 games, but 1 wouldn't surprise me as well. I think you're looking kind of in the 1 to 2 game though range would be my guess. But with player safety, it's always a guess until we find out.
Daniel, you got to see John Klingberg for the first time in an Oilers practice jersey. I guess it would be. But what was your overall impression with him on the ice, and what he was? It seemed like he said all the things that you want to hear, but what he said after practice as well.
Right, and I think the after practice stuff is most intriguing to me. I mean, it's tough to gauge off of one practice, really, as I think anyone who's covered hockey and then watched hockey over the years would know. It's one practice and whatever. But he was saying, how much pain he'd been in, how much he'd struggled to kind of be himself, as or himself being the player that finished 6th in the Norris Trophy voting a couple of times, I think in 2016 and 2018. This is how much difficulty that he'd had moving and how much he feels better and he said he never felt like this before. So he knows he said he knows he has to be better defensively. That's the knock against him. But he also felt like he couldn't defend very well over the last few years because he's afraid of guys beating him. He didn't think he had the mobility. Yeah. And he was saying, specifically that he felt, he didn't want to give up those grade A chances, so he would kind of give guys a little bit more space and, back off, which would allow, cleaner zone entries for teams and allow them to kind of get in and set up. So it's hard to know. This is a guy that hasn't played since November 2023, so we're going on, closing in on 14 months, or we're over 14 months now. And it'll take a little time for him to get up to speed, but, he's not going to play, Chris Knobloch said, for at least a week. So, we're kind of looking at 12 to 13-ish games, maybe kind of in that range where they have him before the trade deadline. He could be a top 4 defenseman. He could be, maybe not even a regular. There's a wide range of outcomes here, but they're taking a flyer on a guy who has very high, a ceiling and still some, higher upside considering what he's done in the last few years, compared to what he's done in the last few years. So I think it's a good flyer for the team to take, and kind of there's a lot of time for them to figure it out before they need to possibly readdress things before the deadline.
That's the thing, Daniel. Like, when you look at Klingberg, like, what is it going to take for the Oilers to be like, okay, we need to go get another top 4 defenseman at the deadline? Like, it's a little unfair. This guy hasn't played in a while. He's coming off hip surgery.
Yeah.
I don't know if you slide him in right into the top 4 right away. You probably slow roll him on that third pair first. But what's it going to take for the Oilers to be content and say this is our decor going in? Because at least in my opinion, I still don't think this is without seeing him play yet. I'd like to see him in some game action, but on the surface, I still think the Oilers need to upgrade their decor, even with Klingberg in the mix.
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Like, I don't know the specific answer to that question. I'll tell you, like, again, the defensive side of his game has been kind of the area that people will knock him for and have throughout the course of his career, and especially, again, the last few years.
Yeah.
The Oilers are looking at it as, like, the best offense is good, or the best defense rather is a good offense, and that with Klingberg on the ice, if he can do what he's been known to do, and obviously upgrade the defense with him being a bit more mobile, they won't have to defend as much. And I talked to Stan Bowman after the signing on Friday, and he said, I don't want guys that are strictly good shot blockers, strictly good around the net, etc. Because all that means is, you can stop the play quickly or get the puck out quickly or whatever, but then you're just going to be defending again right away. And so they think with Klingberg, obviously the guy like Evan Bouchard, a nice two-way defender, and Matthias Ekholm, and certainly Darnell Nurse, who's having maybe the best year of his career, that could form a formidable top four. And if it doesn't quite work, you have Brett Kulak with some proof of concept now, being able to slide into the top four on his offside. So they're not in too bad of a spot, regardless of if it works out or not. Now, if it doesn't, do they have to upgrade? Yeah, probably. But again, even with the way Brett Kulak and Darnell Nurse have played there, you might not have to get another top four guy. You might be able to get kind of a 5-6 and kind of piecemeal it a bit. So they have a lot of options. They have a bit of cap space. Obviously, the Evander Kane situation will kind of murky. When will he be back? Will they have to kind of go into their LTIR pool by the deadline, or can they kind of work with some money that they've accrued? That situation is a little murky right now, but they do have some space. At the very worst, they've kind of presented themselves or found another option here with Klingberg. So to answer your question, I don't know what, how they're going to make that determination if he's a top four guy. But again, they have the time and they like kind of what he can bring when he's at his best. So I think it's, again, a real good gamble by the organization here.
Daniel, looking at tomorrow night, I think if we looked at the schedule at the beginning of the season and looking at this game, we'd be interested because of obviously Ovechkin, but I don't think we would be saying that the Oilers would be going up against the best team in the league up to this point in the Washington Capitals. In a game that probably won't feature Connor McDavid, what did you see in the way practice went, or was there? I believe we saw Jeff Skinner moved up in a different position. But how do you see Coach Nabla implementing lines without a Connor McDavid and going up against, again, the top team in the NHL tomorrow night?
Yeah, it's a good question because it was hard to read the tea leaves in practice. The top line McDavid was skating on his, I guess you'd call it his regular line. Obviously, they move around and he plays with Draisaitl a bit and whatever, but he was skating with Nugent, Hopkins, and Hyman. That's probably not going to happen on Tuesday. And if usually there's a placeholder or whatnot on a line like that. So to me, unless they're going to slide up Kasperi Kapanen or possibly go 11-7 and do a top 5, bottom 6, I'm a little unclear as to how it's going to work. But yeah, Jeff Skinner was on the third line with Adam Henrique, and I believe it was Connor Brown. And then they had, Matthias Janmark with Noah Philp and Corey Perry. So there was no spot, other than him kind of rotating in at times for Kasperi Kapanen. So maybe Kapanen pops up for a game or two. Maybe there's some different things they can do. But I guess, they're probably, I'm kind of going back. I kind of forgot that they had set that Josh Brown down. So, and Klingberg's not going to play. So, I do expect them to go 12-6, 11-7, barring some kind of late recall would be kind of unforeseen, given that they're not going to play Klingberg. So, I don't know exactly how the lines are going to go, but, usually there's practice, you see a placeholder, and I guess you could see Kapanen come up and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins center, Kapanen and Zach Hyman in McDavid's absence. But I'm sure whatever does happen, there'll be a lot of changing by Chris Knoblauch. He likes to kind of switch the lines up, fairly routinely throughout the course of games. So whatever you see for the first couple minutes of Tuesday's game, I highly doubt, by late in the second period or into the third, that those lines will be the same anyway.
Daniel Nugent-Bowman from The Athletic joining us here on EST Afternoons. We saw Derek Ryan land on waivers yesterday. He cleared today. He'll make his way down to Bakersfield. I think this was the plan all along when Noah Philp had such a good training camp. DMB, and then he got a quick stint early in the season. But I think this was the plan all along. It's sad to see Derek Ryan. He's a good veteran guy, but it's a good player to have, kind of in the holster there if you run into any, injury issues, and even for the playoff run. But this was the move all along once Noah Philp had such a good training camp, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's still a little bit of uncertainty about Philp, just given that he spent the whole year off, had no NHL time.
Mm-hmm.
A bit of an older player, trying to make his way into the league, all that sort of thing. But yeah, he's certainly impressed in training camp. I think he's, he's had a few kind of, I wouldn't say down parts, but he's kind of worked his way back into being a pro player again. But he's really picked it up of late, and at this stage of his career, he's always good. Was a bigger player than Derek Ryan, but he skates a bit better, and there's a little bit more pop, I would say, to his game. I think what you have now in Derek Ryan is this year Sam Gagner, who Chris Knobloch said would probably be up at some point, but did kind of acknowledge that it would probably depend on injuries. But I fully expect to see Derek Ryan around the club at some point, and certainly once Bakersfield's season's over, at the very least, in the playoffs and being around the team. So then you have right now, I guess, would be kind of the 14th forward. I'm sure they might make some changes. He might get bumped down a little bit more than that. Good veteran guy. Breaks into the league in his late 20s and plays 600 games. I mean, that's an incredible career for somebody like him. And now it's up to Noah Philp to kind of, the door's open for him to see, or again, kind of like John Klingberg, if he can kind of fulfill that fourth center spot over the next, 10 to 15 games before they decide, can he hack it, or do they need to go and fill that position outside the organization in the form of a trade? So good opportunity for Noah Philp. He'll get a bit of a run here, and then the organization will have to make a call pretty soon if they want to upgrade that spot, or if they think that it's a requirement, I guess, before the trade deadline.
Daniel, great stuff. Thank you for taking the time to join us on a busy Monday. I'm sure we'll see you around and have you on the show here in the near future. All the best today, buddy.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks for having me on, guys.
It's Daniel Nugent-Bowman from The Athletic. I like this one from Mex Bezuzu. Do you think when Daniel writes a great article, everyone at The Athletic goes, "No"? Oh, that's good. That's good. That would win text of the day, but unfortunately that's on the morning show and not on ours. Keep the messages coming to the Nasty Chat and the River Cree inbox. The afternoon inbox is presented by the River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the Tap 25 restaurant, where the entire menu is 50% off 7 days a week from 2 to 5 p.m. Coming up next, we'll wrap up the show, continue the Oilers, NFL talk, and I got some this day in sports history as well. 25 away from 100 on EST afternoons. Hit the thumbs up. Let's get to 100. We only need 25 here in the next 10 minutes or so. We're back to close out the show next here on Edmonton Sports Talk. First up, here's Zach with your sports update.
After receiving a match penalty in Saturday's game for cross-checking Canucks forward Connor Garland, Connor McDavid has faced the league for a hearing on his infraction, and details on the league's response have yet to come. The details expected to come soon. Earlier today, John Klingberg suited up for his first practice in Edmonton with head coach Chris Knobloch saying Klingberg won't play for at least a week. Elsewhere, Derek Ryan clears waivers as he reports to the Condors. And right now in the NHL, the Avs are down 1-0 to the Wild, nearing the end of 40, and the Kraken have scored 2 straight to take a 2-1 lead on the Sabres in the final minutes of the first. Later, the Blues face the Golden Knights, and the Lightning meet the Maple Leafs as Max Pacioretty sits out for Toronto due to an upper body injury on a 9-game slate. In football, Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network is reporting that the Bears are finalizing a deal to hire Ben Johnson as their next head coach. In other news, the Colts are hiring former Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, according to both Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport on Twitter. And 2 games decided, 3 games live in the NBA. The Timberwolves up 82-77 on the Grizzlies with under 10 to go in that one. The Suns trail 59-46 to the Cavaliers at halftime, and the Knicks and Hawks are in a tight one at 62-61 in the third. After that, Celtics throw down with the Warriors. Chicago's on the road against the LA Clippers, while the Jazz take on the Pelicans. The final segment of EST Afternoons comes after the break. I'm Zachary Kubish for your sports update.
How do you beat those winter blues? How about a double shot of classic rock? River Cree Resort and Casino and K97 proudly present Helix and Sweet. February 28th, live in the venue. Helix and Sweet. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Make a fresh start in the new year with Sentinel Storage. With convenient locations near you, Sentinel Storage is here to help you make space for everything 2024 holds. Sentinel Storage. Shop Canadian, store Canadian. Try 4 weeks free. Visit sentinelstorage.ca.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oiler fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
2:49. It's going to be a short final segment here as we went along with Daniel Nugent-Bowman. Had some phone issues, but we were able to get him on here. Welcome back to EST Afternoons here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Joaquin, Gage, Hernan, Salas, Zach Kubish. Coming up in about 10 minutes, it will be the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. Like always, they'll have your attention up until 6. Should know what the verdict is on the McDavid cross-check by 6 o'clock. Well, at least that's what we're hoping, but anticipate one. I think at the most 2 games, and unfortunately, he'll probably be out for tomorrow's game against the Capitals. Gager, I just wanted to share this with you. This day in sports history, Gager, 1995, the NHL season opened with teams playing a 48-game schedule instead of the usual 84. You remember that? Those times?
That was my first year pro, I believe, Nanzo. Yeah, I remember it quite fondly, actually.
Nice. Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah. It was kind of funny because that was the first lockout. No one knew what was going on. If you're from a certain vintage, you can remember Chris Chelios basically threatening the life of Bettman at the time. So I mean, a lot of guys, we were staying at the Holiday Inn in Sydney, Nova Scotia, thinking, well, I didn't have as much hope as other guys, but I played with like Todd Marchand, David Oliver, Roman Aksuda and stuff. And these guys were like, when are we going back? Yeah. You know, they didn't. So obviously I said, you know what, I got to get out of the hotel. Like, I think I was in the hotel for the first 2.5 months and it was still going on. And I just decided I'm going to move in with some other guys here. This is crazy. But then, once that happened, Oliver Marchand got called up, and then we at the end of the season, a bunch of us got called up too for the end of the year, and I ended up playing in my first NHL game that year. So
nice.
That that was a lot of fun.
That's great. It's great to have someone that kind of lived it as a player of that era. I remember as a fan, as a young Hernan, I was very upset but happy when they returned with the 48 game schedule.
The one thing, Nanto, was the American Hockey League was really good that year.
Oh, I
right?
could imagine, yeah.
Because every team had probably like 3 to 4 guys that would have started the season and probably played the whole NHL season, right? So it was a good league. Very, very good league that season.
Nice. Also, this day in sports history, let me pull it up here. In 2003, Patrick Roy became the first NHL goalie to play 1,000 games. Where does he rank for you in all time? Top 3, top 5?
You know, I know he's our boss and stuff, but I wasn't a huge fan of I can't deny the
greatness.
You know, the resume speaks for itself. Yeah. I just thought and you don't get that way without some sort of attitude. But like I mentioned before, you would go into the room and there would be the lineup on the board of guys, and when we'd play Colorado, you know, you'd see their lineup, and in goal, and they'd have the 2 names. Whoever was Bennington was the one guy, and I think Mac T wrote God and circled it because Patrick Roy thought he was God's gift to goaltending.
He was a pleasure to watch, but yeah, like the attitude kind of, you know, it wore its welcome out. It wore out its welcome when you're doing it all the time. It's like, hey, get her. No, he would drop them and go at it with guys, and you respected that. And he was a good goaltender. Like you said, the resume speaks for itself. Birthdays today, former Edmonton Oiler Dick Tarnstrom, remember from the 06 run? Yeah. He was a valuable addition by Kevin Lowe in that deadline. Kind of in and out of the lineup, but he was an interesting player, very offensive. And today's National Cheese Lovers Day, Gage. I'm a big cheese guy. What's your favorite cheese?
Oh, the stinkier the better, buddy.
Oh, I'm the same way, bro.
When I was in Italy, there was little cheese festivals in villages. I would drive, 50 clicks. Well, I was in the mountains, so it took like 8 hours to get there. But you'd go to these little cheese things, and I mean, you open it up, and it blows the room apart. But yeah, the creamier, the stinkier, the moldier, the better with me.
I'm the same way, brother. I gotta say though, like for just something that's like a quick selection, I love Havarti. Like at the Italian store, you get it right from where you get the deli meats. Like I don't buy it in packages anymore. I get it fresh. Gouda's good. I mean the Regina. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah,
there's so many good ones.
The one thing in Switzerland, and you can see them now here a little bit, but the raclette. So the massive like wheel of cheese. Usually a Gruyere or Emmenthal, and it's on like a heat lamp, and it just cooks that top layer and gets it all. And they take a big knife and scrape it and just throw it on a piece of bread. Throw some cured meats on there. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to go make something to eat after this.
There's no wrong answer when it comes to cheese. Bronco, there isn't though.
No.
Bronco Nick says Pecorino Romano or Pecorino Crodonese are awesome, and then Bronco. This is the one I was trying to say. Parmigiano
Reggiano.
Reggia. That's a really good one. Very dry, but it's fantastic. So I'm glad that you're a cheese lover, just like me. I could. Like I said, there's no wrong answer when it comes to that.
I never met someone who doesn't like cheese, to tell you the truth.
I wonder if Dusty likes cheese.
Oh, but his probably only comes in a square, and you have to unwrap some plastic.
Marble, or just, So this comes from Dusty from Tammy's account. 3 Con Smice.
Jesus, stop it.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, that does it for us here on this Monday edition of EST Afternoons. Thank you for listening in, watching us as well. Keep hammering that thumbs up. Let's get to 100. We're very, very close. So if you haven't done so, you can do so now. And remember to get the our podcasts, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasting pleasures for sure. Big shout out to Daniel Nugent-Bowman for joining us here in the second hour. Lots of Oilers talk. We also recapped a fun weekend in the NFL. For Joaquin, Gage, and Zach Kubish, I'm Hernan Salas. Reed Wilkins, Jay Milne coming up here. We'll wait the McDavid verdict. That should drop before 6 o'clock. Hopefully. No promises, but stay tuned for Reed Wilkins. We'll chat tomorrow on Oilers Game Day. Ciao.